Hi, this is Ed. I'm here in San Diego at the Kona Kai Yacht Club on Shelter Island in San Diego Harbor. It's a beautiful place. And this is a special edition of Global TV Talk Show. We're calling it the Global Business C-Suite. In other words, executive level thinking by a variety of people. Today, our very special guest is in Brazil. Carolina Gomez Pereira is an expert. And I have to put my glasses on to read this as an intro. Okay. She is a specialist in English language communication, a mentor for global professionals to build confidence, clarity, and cultural intelligence. Her business is called Instituto Anglo, and she's in Santa Catarina, Brazil. And we'll learn from her all about that. I can't wait to go there someday. Okay, so why do professionals choose to work with Carolina? And this is from her LinkedIn. Because they know that speaking English alone isn't enough. They want to be respected, heard, and recognized in international meetings, in high stakes interviews, and to be better in the global roles they've worked so hard to achieve. Here's a little about Carolina. We'll, of course, get into all of this during the broadcast. Her journey began with a volunteer mission in Washington, D.C., where she lived for 2 years. That personal experience taught her something no book ever could: cultural sensitivity, active listening, and the power of purposeful communication. She's going to take us down this beautiful pathway towards resolution and solutions, solving the problem of communicating better, but C-suite and others who really want to learn. So after that experience, Carolina worked for over 10 years at an American multinational corporation, starting at the help desk and eventually becoming a senior instructor. In that role, Carolina led international trainings, implemented systems in multiple countries, and aligned language, strategy, and performance. Always with a focus on the real results. In other words, helping executives communicate better. Later on, she was certified by the ETS as a TOEFL IBT, that's the authority, as a proctor overseeing the logistics, the technology, and the candidate experiences, while also preparing the professionals to succeed on the test. Today, Carolina applies all of that experience to mentor professionals who work or who want to work confidently and fluently within an international environment. Carolina helps clients lead meetings, present ideas with clarity, and she helps them build trust-based relationships in English with presence, precision, with authority. We'll be right back with Carolina as our special guest on Global Business C-Suite. Welcome back to Global Business C-Suite. This is a new unit of globalbusinessnews.net. I'm very happy to have Carolina Gomez Pereira. Did I say that right?
You said it right. Yes.
Good. And so I don't speak a word other than hola uh, in Portuguese. So I could never be as professional as you are in English right now, without more training, that is. And this is what this program is all about today, isn't it? It's about me not embarrassing myself to try to speak Portuguese without learning more about the culture and about the people. I already know about the wine, but that's about it. I've been in Portugal and I've been in
Oh,
Brazil. So,
really?
yes, of course. Yeah, Porto and Lisbon. Look,
How did you
Porto.
like it?
Yeah, they're wonderful. Yeah. Yeah, we stayed right down on the river, across from the wineries, and we took the river tour past the wineries, but we didn't stop in any of them. This is all about you, not wine. And this is about your work. And the audience here will be US wide when we circulate and distribute and promote this edition in the days and weeks and months to come beyond today's recording date. So we want people to understand the depth and the seriousness of why your business is successful and how you have been able to instruct very senior people to speak business English better. I guess that's the easiest way. Maybe you have another way of expressing that. Is there another way?
Well, I said you said it perfectly because this is what we need. And I relate to what you do, Edwin. And I thank you so much for having me here because learning languages, communicating and connecting as you do with your program, and as I've been participating for the last 6 months, it's amazing. It's amazing. And it really opened doors that it wouldn't in other ways.
Now,
Yeah,
we're just beginning now. So,
exciting.
I want to get you talking here, and I'm going to stop talking. But before we close the show out, I'm going to read something to you that I happened to put together at my 5 a.m. this morning. I
Please.
I was wide awake and got up and began to do some stuff, and it's on paper here. I actually wrote it out. Um, and I thought of, and we're going to get into you in just a minute, but I thought of this, what I'll read to you later, is is because of what you and I are going to be talking about specifically. And there's another customer that I have that I'm having a discussion with on the same topic of he has no problem. He's a very senior person, no problem speaking, but he wants to know how to express himself better in the new environment that he finds himself out of a major corporation into now being an entrepreneur and a first-time book author. Uh, and so I've been talking to him about the kinds of things that I'm doing and how it could relate. And it's almost an identical storyline that I'm going to share with you uh, at the close of your talk here. So tell us about the early days when you were in Washington, D.C., and you were very junior, and the world was in front of you. You perfected, or you were so determined to be efficient and successful in the new environment of America and Washington as a young person, and you saw the need. The light went on. The expression, the light went on. The idea sprang of
Mhm.
what you're going to do. So the microphone is yours.
Thanks, Edwin. So, just a couple of years ago, in my 20s, I had this amazing, amazing opportunity. It was actually accomplishing one of my child's dream, right? I always wanted to visit the United States, and I was thrilled when the opportunity came to me. But I didn't consider a small detail at the time, just a tiny detail that was that I didn't speak English. I couldn't understand. So I experienced in firsthand how language can be really a barrier or it could be a bridge, depending on how we deal with this. So I had an amazing experience. I learned English during these 2 years in Washington. Then I returned to Uruguay. I became an English teacher. I started to work for an American company. I started to work at the help desk. Then I ended up training international teams, executives, leaders in Spanish, in Portuguese, and also in English. And it was a very um, enlightening experience because during this time in the company, I also see how many colleagues, brilliant professionals, they had English, but they didn't access some opportunities. And I always wonder what was going on or why, right? Um, and this is when I learned something very, very powerful that changed how I perceive languages nowadays is that fluency is not only enough. Fluency is not only enough. So you need to know how to navigate between different cultures and how to send your message across. It's all about how people will perceive you. And the good news is that there are techniques. If any of you watching this show today, if you're learning English, if you feel that you're not seen, you're invisible, that you don't have a voice in the table, because it's not always easy, this path, but there is a way for you to learn how to become confident, how to become comfortable with this second language. I have some slides today. I don't know if I can show
Yes,
now.
I
Okay.
want you to use my screen share and upload.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And I
So
asked you to do it because I don't know how to do that.
not a problem, not a problem. Um, so one of the things that I wanted to bring into the course, I have the what is called the dual code that I share with professionals. Is that of course we need to know how to express in English, how to choose and select the words, the sentences, how to participate in different situations using different words, but also how to respond to different cultures. The way we communicate here in Brazil or in Latin America, it can be not as effective in some other country, right? For example, something very simple that is to smile, right? To smile, it could be taken in other cultures as something like people won't take you too seriously, right? They won't rely on you. And it's just about learning the communication styles. So this is what I love to bring in the classes because when we have the information, it's much more easy to navigate between these differences and become a global leader that is what many of you want to become nowadays, especially with the world connected as it is and with so many opportunities. So in these years, training, using the language, and seeing how many opportunities are available for the ones that can be clear and present in the moment. And you see here, I put a microphone because it happens many times, especially if you are seeing this video today and you had to use a second language to work. It happens many times that you sometimes avoid the situations. You delegate to someone else. You prefer communicating by email. And this microphone that is yours is empty at the end of the day. We cannot hear your voice. We cannot understand what is your message. Um, so we can learn with some very simple techniques how you can feel more comfortable, for example, before a meeting, how breathing before a meeting, a presentation will help you calm your body and relax you so you can really remember what you have to say and send your message across with more presence. And this will define your authority. This will change how people will perceive you in these events. So if nowadays you are facing this challenge, or someone else that you know, maybe you work with employees that need to improve their English, I just want to share this message that those are skill sets we can build, we can polish. Nobody born knowing how to be a global leader. Uh, even when you speak the same language, when you need to communicate and connect and inspire people from other cultures, there's many factors that we need to consider to learn. And of course, this is going to improve your performance at the end of the day. So this is what I do today. My mission is very simple, Edwin. I help companies, I help executives to learn how to be present when they communicate, and in that way to impact in a better way their teams and influence. And I'm very happy to do so.
Well, that's beautiful. Where is that bridge located?
Well, that is a good question. I think somewhere in Europe, not quite sure, but I love the picture. Isn't it
Yeah,
beautiful?
yeah, it really is indeed. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
And it,
tell me about smiling. What is the view, the thoughts about smiling? Now, in
mhm,
America, it's very American.
mhm.
Um, but in, say, Germany, um, uh, you said it. It
Exactly.
questions seriousness and purpose.
It does. And it all boils down to the fact that we have different styles of communication, right? Some cultures will be more emotionally expressive, right? And some others will be the opposite, like in the north of Europe, for example. So smiling there can totally um, like it's not going to be good for you in business, right? People will not trust you as much if you are more serious. But in Latin America, for example, or in the States, it's going to be different. So small details like that. For example, if you wondered, should I play golf first with my client and then sign the contract, or vice versa? Well, it depends on where is your client from? Where are you working, right? But those small details will really help you to get better results, to connect in a better way.
Interesting. Yeah, right. So, do you find it hard to get people? It's mostly men you're dealing with, I would think.
Nowadays, I have, yes, most of my clients, they are men. Mhm.
Yeah, and um, are you finding good reception, a good welcome?
Well, that's a good question. Um, I'll say that I'm finding people that really get to a point that they need to speak in English because they see opportunities escaping, um, many doors closing because they're unable at this point to do this. People that has dedicated time, a lot of time to study, to get certifications, PhDs, they are very well prepared professionals, but for some reason they put English on the side, and now with this globalization we are experiencing, so many opportunities for someone that can communicate in English. They perceive the urgency of this.
Yes. Well, this is a perfect example of what we're doing right now of um, the next best thing, not the best, but the next best thing, the second, is virtual communications, just like what you and I are doing right now, rather than meeting somewhere in person. And it takes training. It takes care. And that's the thing that I was writing about this morning. And let me share some of this with you, and I would welcome your feedback, but I have to put the right eyeglasses on. So, so pardon me, I have to look.
It's all
There,
right.
voila. Okay. Okay. So the question that I'm going to be talking about, the self-imposed question, is the question to me is, why am I doing so much on Zoom? In other words, using this method rather than investing money and time and energy and travel and putting on live meetings. Well, I have to tell you that 30 years of doing that were more than 350 events that I produced in different
Wow.
countries, okay, mostly US, but also across Europe and in Latin America. And I've done 1,100 TV broadcasts in 5 years. So, which is more productive? Well, this is this way right now in terms of audience build. In other words, not necessarily numbers, but quality of the viewer, the participant, even if there's silence on the other end and been just watching, it's still audience. So the question of how much influence could I have as a talk show host, getting people like yourself from across time and space, from across borders and cultures, from across generations, from across industries and silos. How much time and effort has it taken me to achieve this? A lot. Okay, so what is the meaningfulness? Much like you have, excuse me, experienced yourself in developing your institute, what's the secret sauce? In other words, what is the determining factor that you have learned works for you in getting people's confidence to listen to you and go through your training and hopefully experiencing out on the other side success? I want to hear more from you about that. So this is what I wrote down, and it flowed, as I said, early this morning, because I've been having a communication with a very senior person who took early retirement from a major global corporation at the very top level. And he just wrote a book, and he's learning how to be an entrepreneur, I think for the first time. And it's difficult. Everybody has a learning curve and new stuff. So I sent the following thing to him about why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I'm quoting myself here, okay?
Okay.
I want everyone to look and sound good on the Zoom. So I use a pretty background to get people to think of that, not just me. And as you know, I vary the background sometimes.
I love it.
Thanks. Okay, so I want to bring everybody who I talk with into the global meeting room. The global meeting room is Zoom, free access, no registration fees. We do have memberships and we do have advertising sponsors, but I don't want a toll gate. I want to open this up as a vehicle to bring people into what I call the global meeting room for introduction and to feel comfortable in a psychologically safe, no risk environment so that learning can happen. So I try to help people benefit from this experience, as you've seen, through dialogue and um, bridging between people or bridging over one topic into another, perhaps with some humor, or perhaps with something that makes it work. So I try to help people benefit from all of this. And underneath all of this is a power, a secret power, much like what you discovered when you were in Washington and beyond. There's a secret power. My word for that is kindness, being kind to people who are a little nervous about doing this kind of thing, or just in wonder, and therefore a little bit afraid or insecure, or they're worried about the imposter syndrome, okay, which is actually a big problem for a lot of people. So the power of kindness has become my currency. In other words, make things happen, like payment by acting out and helping people in a hospitality framework, kindness, and getting people to speak uh, to strangers who they haven't met before for the first time and just have dialogue, just like you've experienced and others. So every day I broadcast something. I connect people every day. I'm going to read this. I introduce one person to another person who can maybe just in a second change that person's life through an introduction. It's like a miracle that can happen where people come together for the first time, share an idea, make a connection for the next potential time. You've experienced that. And some others, not everybody, by the way, but you have, and I'm really happy to help you do that. So people are not as comfortable as you are or as comfortable as I am in front of a camera. So my job as the show host and producer is to teach people how to become more comfortable mentally, physically, become the person you want to be. When you're on camera, you have an opportunity, people have an opportunity to play Hollywood, imagine what it's like to be that person who you really want to be, and you don't want who you don't want to be. And so you don't want to seem like a flub. You want to seem like you're a star and very professional. So being camera ready is the simple phrase. But what goes behind it? What is behind that? What is the prop to prop up self-image is confidence. What comes with confidence? What's before confidence is thinking about how you want to be seen. So it's almost like acting. Well, it is. But you don't want to be a phony. It has to be from the heart. So I teach, small t in quotes, I teach people how to become, how to imagine who they want to appear like on camera and become that person. And that means smiling, not too much, but and not in a phony way, but um, making eye contact with the screen light. Smile when you talk. Think about body language. How is your body? Not slumped over or, sitting crooked. Uh, so you think body language. Your body is creating a language that could be very different from the words that you're using. So you have to think about that. So what I do, as you've experienced already, um, media prep. And it's a superpower that I've developed, best practice media prep. So coaching, or if needed, coaching on voice, on using hands, just like I'm doing here, make eye contact, smile, sit up straight, seduce the camera, love the camera. It's an opportunity to build a friendship that comes right through that view into your mind, only if you accept it. Yeah. So just that little stuff I wanted to share with you because I noticed that almost like the first time that I had you on the show months ago. And not everybody has that gift, and they have to work on it or they give up and they don't want to do it anymore. And I'm also finding that a lot of people don't even go to first base. In other words, just try it, especially if there's a fee involved. So it's not unusual. So um,
Can I say something?
please stop me from talking.
Edwin, I thanks for sharing that. Like I've met you around 6 months ago, and I'm a
Um,
witness on how your work creating this space, psychological safe for us to share our work, but not only that. Um, with that beautiful poem you wrote, what I see there is like you're helping us and everyone that is watching this show not to be only someone watching some other people live or some other people, be heard. You're allowing people to have a voice here, to be the character of their own movie. And I think everyone listening to us today has something to share. You have something to share. And in this time that we live, where technology is so present in our lives, I'm sure for you, Edwin, as for myself, it wasn't so easy the first time to, turn on the camera and
that's for
be,
sure.
oh my gosh, I'm a shy recovery person. I'm always learning. But what I want to say is, it's possible. If anybody is watching this today, your voice is so important. And the fact that you can be here with us sharing this, so many people needs to hear you. We never know, right? So I think it's a wonderful opportunity. I'm so grateful, Edwin, because I have experience in my life some changes since I have been here in this networking in this show, participating with you, with all the professionals where I feel so comfortable too. I mean, there's so many things I could say, but I will let you talk.
Well, you come back again,
Of
and
course.
there'll be more opportunity for sure. And my headphones are falling off my head. I'm sorry. So notice I didn't panic here, and I can't take them off because then it won't work. So
Mhm. These things happen.
right, right.
Yes,
So thank you for your time. And so it's now what, 5 p.m. where you are?
exactly. Mhm.
Yeah, good. Thank you for your time. I'm going to prepare this. I'll get you this program hopefully later today.
I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. See you the next time.
Okay, I'm
Bye
signing
bye.
off. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.